guys, welcome to Smart Brains. Brianna here, and today we're going to be learning about adding and subtracting decimals. So follow me. So let's get started. We're going to start with adding decimals. To add decimals, we have just two steps. The first step is align the numbers accordingly. In other words, align the decimal points. The second step is just to add. So for instance, we have add the following decimals. 1.52 plus 5.1. To start with, our first step says we need to align the decimal points. So 1.52, and we have 5.1. But look, this is wrong because our step says what? Align the decimal points accordingly, which means this decimal point right here needs to be underneath this decimal point. So to write it well, it will be 1.52 plus 5.1. Let's wipe this off. So this is our first step, aligning the decimals accordingly. To add, 2 plus nothing is 2. 5 plus 1 is 6. We bring our decimal points down. 5 plus 1 is 6. So when you add 1.52 and 5.1, your answer is 6.62. Let's move on to the next example. For our next example, we have 4.9 plus 5.6. So to add this, our first step is to align the decimal points. I have 4.9, and I need to make sure that this decimal point comes right underneath this decimal point. So I'll put 5.6 this way. And as our second step said, add just the normal addition. 9 plus 6 is 15. So you put a 5. And we have a remainder of 1. We put our remainder 1 here. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. We put a 10. But don't forget, you need to bring your decimal point. Which means 4.9 plus 5.6 equals 10.5. Okay, so now let's move on to subtracting decimals. To subtract decimals, we do the same thing. We follow the same steps, but this time we subtract. Our steps to add decimals were align the numbers accordingly or align the decimal points. And when we're adding decimals, we said add, but this time we say subtract. Our first example is 5.72 minus 4.5. As you remember, our first step was to align the decimal points accordingly. We have 5.72 minus 4.5. And this time we did it well because our decimal points are in a straight line. Now let's subtract. 2 minus nothing equals 2. 7 minus 5 equals 2. Bring your decimal point down. 5 minus 4 equals 1. Which means when you subtract 5.72 from 4.5, you have 1.22. So now let's move on to our second example. So for this example, we have to subtract 9.21 minus 7.5. So let's get started. 9.21, as our first step said, align the decimal points. So minus 7.5. And on our next step, it says subtract. 1 minus nothing equals 1. 2 minus 5 is not possible, which means 2 will have to borrow from 9. And remember, whenever a number goes to its friend or the next number right beside it to borrow, it's a 10. So which means a plus 10 for 2 and a minus 1 for 9 when 2 borrows from 9. So now 2 went to 9 and borrowed 10, which means 2 plus 10 is 12. So now we have 12 here instead of 2. Now 9 just lost one of its own people. So now it becomes 8. 12 minus 5 equals 7. We bring our decimal point down. 8 minus 7 gives us 1. So now our final answer is 1.71. Therefore, 9.2 minus 7.5 is equal to 1.71. And so that's all for adding and subtracting decimals. And thanks for watching. But if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the description box for more information. Like, share, comment, and I'll see you in our next video.